Beat it. Let's do it. What's hilarious about Madolche is it's all about pudding and cupcakes, but it's actually a really complex deck. It's nuts. I could tell with some decks that there is a huge Konami fan at Japan that I feel Madolche is a deck that someone at Japan, a developer, loves pudding and cupcakes because the deck's got everything. Pot of Pea, special summon the petting. We're going to summon the pudding. And then we are going to make a Glass. Glass wants to put one card in the graveyard. Do not shuffle it. Why do you want one card in the graveyard? So that when you summon your Chocolate, Chocolate can return that one monster in the graveyard back in the deck to trigger her effect to special summon a monster from the deck. Ooh, Ghost Spell negating the ability to return the card back in the deck, which means the Chocolate will not be triggered, and that's it. And that ended the whole turn. That was nuts. Foolish Burial Goods is going to send a spell from or trap from the deck to the graveyard, going to be negated by Ash Blossom. Combo the Grave, negating the negate. Combo completely over. During the opponent's turn, these cards do nothing. That's it. He completely stopped the combo. Qinglong in the graveyard is going to search for a virtual world. Lulu is the main virtual world you want. Discarding a Chuchi. Activating a Chuchi from the deck. Lulu targeting the Chuchi. Chain the Maxi. Make a Madolche video. I have a video with Madolche I can make. Lay low. Normal summoning the Nyan Nyan. We're going to boost up the level to then make a Shen Shen. Now, every card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Banish the Chocolate, and that's only from the field to grave. So the Exceed materials is not considered going from the field to grave. So they do go to the graveyard. Jeline is going to search. The petting cannot activate if you have any monsters in your graveyard, so don't be worried about that follow-up. The Tiara is going to return 2 cards in the field back of the deck if it were to not get disrupted by the Chuchi. Chuchi get poppin'. Salon's going to allow an additional summon. Additionally summon an Angeli. Angeli, so good. Angeli summon the petting. Petting special summon from the deck a Hoot. Hoot banish from the graveyard summon a Messenger. Messenger search from your deck a Madolche spell or trap. Ticket's going to special summon a monster from the deck. We got Tiara number 2. Tiara's going to trigger the ticket to summon another Messenger. Returning the entire field back in the deck. This dude's popping off. This dude is popping off. Ticket activate. Salon might grab the field spell or a trap. What do you think? We got the trap. Ticket special summon. This Messenger will search the field spell. There we go. Chateau, return all monsters in the graveyard back into the deck that are Madolche. We still have Maxi in there. Chocolate. To battle we go. We have 7,000 damage. Not lethal, though. What the? Sistart is going to protect all of your back row from being destruction. Destroyed, that's face up. Only the face up cards will not be destroyed. Cannot be targeted either. Qinglong is going to search for a virtual world. Cowboy for game. He was not even able to cowboy. The petting locks you into Madolche only. Laylo, come forth and summon a monster from the graveyard. The Promenade is going to be able to negate any card face up on the field. Get ready for a negate. He is being ready to well-time that negate. Charge Warrior is going to draw a card. Probably don't want to negate that, right? Nyan Nyan going to return a banished card back in the deck. Not a big deal. Nothing's really happening here. Charge Warrior drawing. QB engrave. Should I call it QB or Shen? And QB's not in grave. QB Shen got returned back to the extra deck. Impermanence negating the Charge Warrior from drawing. Kind of a weak negate. We still have the Promenade for another negate. We can make the Shen. We can and we will. Shen is coming. Is this the Shen? Shen is here. Everything on the field sent to the graveyard will be banished instead. If we have a Chuchi in the graveyard, we can make a True King of All Calamities. Probably not a good idea. We have the Virtual World Gate that can special summon a monster from the graveyard, but you need a card in the hand to discard, so we can't even activate it. To battle phase we go. Sistar could protect itself from destruction by banishing a card from the graveyard instead. Negating the Charge Warrior did not negate just drawing. It essentially negated the Zanwu. So that's a much bigger picture of the Charge Warrior draw one being negated. Negating this from special summoning a monster from the graveyard, it's actually a really good negate. If you see Virtual World with 0 cards in their hand, negate them from drawing if they have the Zanwu in the grave. Oh boy. Promenade negating the Shen. That will trigger the Salon and the ticket to special summon a monster onto the field. That will cause a replay with the Shen. Shen can redirect the attack onto the newly summoned monster. Did I say it was a weak negate? In the context of negating just draw one, that is a weak negate. But with further context of him having the Zanwu in the graveyard, requiring him to have a card in the hand to special summon a monster from the graveyard, that makes it a much better negate. You go from negating an Upstart Goblin to negating a special summon from the grave plus a draw one. Summoning the Petting, which will also special summon a Pudding. Redirecting the attack, and due to being negated, the Petting is going to go to the graveyard, which will then return to the hand, which will then... That's it. Go to the hand. Now, if we have Promenade in the graveyard, we could do a very cool play where you could equip the Pudding onto the Chocolate, which will then give it the ability to special summon Madolches from the deck. Additionally, summoning, we still have our normal summon. We have Madolche. Madolche's not once per turn. A lot of these cards are so old that Konami forgot to make them a hard once per turn. You could Madolche, summon, search Madolche, normal summon Madolche, search another card. We can only special summon the Petting from the hand if we have no monsters in the grave. We have Maxi, which could be banished by the Hoots. We got the Glass. Glass could return monsters in the graveyard back into the deck. I don't want to coach here, but he could free up his graveyard so he could special summon the Petting. Detaching the Pudding, targeting the Chocolate to make it unaffected by monster effects. He stole my play. That's my play. I said to do that. He's equipping the Pudding with the Pudding. The Chocolate with the Pudding. The Pudding is in the Chocolate, or is the Chocolate in the Pudding? Returning the Messenger back in the deck, which will trigger the Chocolate to summon a monster from the deck. It's going to summon a Hoot. Probably a Hoot. Hoot. Probably, maybe. It's a code name. Codename Chocolate. Chocolate in the Pudding. Pudding in the Chocolate. We're special summoning 2 monsters. And Jelly. Madolche Knights? Who the heck plays that? Bro, if Angeli was a... If this was a Hoot Cake instead, you would have triggered the Messenger to search for You're probably out of searches anyway. Max C to the hand. Oh, God. Max C to the hand. Chateau. I can't believe you don't have a clause that says, add it to the, like, what the heck just happened? You must control a face-up. You could, if the card would go to the hand instead, that's crazy. That is crazy that you could return a Max C. It should say, if a Madolche in your graveyard would be returned back to the deck by a Madolche effect. What? Holy crap. I feel like this deck is broken because it's outdated. It has cards that are so old that I played the deck 10 years ago. Dweller's here. We could make a Dweller only because we didn't activate the effect of Petting. Petting would restrict you to Madolche-only monsters. Abyss Dweller, preventing the activation of any card effects in the graveyard, meaning the Shen Shen will not be summonable. That's a way to say you're 30, right? I'm also 31. Lalo going in for the chocolate, taking a 3,000 chocolate to the face. All right. Holy moly, was that a great duel. Fictinium now 4-0.